We are Meadows, and this is the KingdomCore Podcast.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode of the KingdomCore Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and Sean is here, but not at the moment. He'll be in the interview. We were in a rush the night that we recorded this. Weren't able to do the intro together like we normally do after the fact. So it's just me. Hello. You can follow me on Instagram over at @4.the.rock or check out my YouTube channel, which the video version of this podcast is on. If you didn't know that there is a video version where you can actually see your favorite artists have the conversation. Sometimes there's some funny gigs, especially at the end of this episode. There's a really funny moment that you want to see. But all that being said, thankful to be here. Thank you to Meadows for hopping on the podcast with us. Great time chatting with these guys again. And their new album, Familiar with Pain, just dropped on Good Friday this year. It was an absolutely wonderful record, super incredible theme and concept behind it. And yeah, if you haven't heard it, you need to listen to it. But if I can't convince you, maybe the band can after this conversation that we had with them. Super great guys, as always. And yeah, just thankful for them to come and give their time and share what they're all about. So just before we hop into this, we got a couple little things. We got to read a review, and we also got to give a quick shout out to all our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/KingdomCore Podcast. Our true fans, the Dead Pedal Coffee Company, thank you guys for just giving so much and being around since the beginning, as well as Anthony Kuchma, Aaron Peter, Fabian Richter, Frankie Blocker, Jonathan Lyman, and Steve Michalowski for being our core givers. Thank you guys so much for sticking around as always. So we got a podcast review here. This was left in March 30th. So this is actually pretty recent, by Pluto Boy, Homeschooled Metalhead. Found this podcast through Instagram and gotta give these guys some props. These dudes make podcasts that are both funny and refreshing to my soul. I was not a metal fan at all. My mom raised me and my brother on country music. I was also homeschooled, so really didn't get out a lot. This podcast showed me a whole new side to Christian music. I remember giving Demon Hunter a chance and barely liking it. Now I got August Burns Red, For Today, War of Ages, and Becoming the Archetype in my constant rotation. I really love how they don't take themselves super seriously, but still keep it 100. Chris and Sean take the time to actually learn what the band stands for and what they believe, which I really appreciate. I love what you guys are doing, and I'm praying for you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have helped me enjoy a whole new kind of music. Love y'all. God bless. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. We don't take this for granted. At least try not to take this for granted. Being in the position that we are and getting to be a part of this scene and share this music, something I've always loved to do. And if I'm being honest, recently it's been a little difficult at times. There's days where I honestly feel like kind of calling it quits and packing it up. But I know that those are just kind of one-offs, and that's not really how I feel or necessarily what God wants for me right now. So just seeing these kind of comments, and that really makes it all worth it. So thank you so much. Yeah, we're really grateful for all you who listen to this podcast, because there are a lot of you. And yeah, we love getting to hear your thoughts and hearing from you every time we see a comment like this. It means the world to us. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Let's dive on into this episode with Meadows. Do you guys want to quickly maybe introduce yourselves for those who don't know you and hear your voices, your wonderful screamy voices?
You want me to scream it, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Buckle up. I can see it in Sean's eyes. Please,
I have
please
headphones
don't. My name is Christian. I play the microphone in the band called Meadows.
Nice.
My name is Stone, and I play guitar in Meadows.
My name is Brandon. I play bass in Meadows.
I'm Armando. I play guitar.
I'm Evan. I play drums.
And together
Nice.
you are.
Together, we're Meadows.
Welcome to the KingdomCore Podcast.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh, so
Oh
good.
man, dude, it's good to have you guys here. I know we've wanted to do this since I saw you guys in Indy about a month and a half ago. So thanks for coming on, guys. Congratulations on your new record, Familiar with Pain. The album is fantastic. I have not stopped listening to it since it released. I'm sure Chris shares the same sentiment, right?
Yes, and I just listened to it like twice since yesterday, so I have to-
Nice.
Same as well.
it's good. It's a good time.
What's it feel like to finally have this thing out? I know you guys have been working on it for about a couple years now, correct?
Yeah, a couple years. Take it, Christian.
Yeah,
Is that it?
it really feels kind of like a weight lifted whenever you finally get to release something that you've been working on for so long. I think, in a lot of different capacities, it's relatable, but like it's just a breath of fresh air and kind of all right, well, now it's out. It's like you almost feel like you should be doing something more for it, but like it's out. So there it is. There it goes.
Now you're already writing the next one, right?
Absolutely. This train ain't stopping, baby.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess with that, I mean, you guys released In Those Days and also after about 2.5 years ago. I think it was like early fall of 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And how long, because you guys worked forever on that since that was like a 3 concept EP thing that took a few years. So like how long after that released did you guys start writing for this one?
Yeah, Mondo, you want to take that one?
If I'm remembering the timeline correctly, I think we really started pushing the concept for it not too long after the release. But I mean, it was just like the initial ideas of it. I remember us taking like our annual lake trip to try to get like a writing brainstorm together, and us just having those first ideas. And we're like, okay, here's the theme now. How do we make it all work together?
Nice.
Yeah, and to add to that, I was recently going through just like videos on my phone from Meadows stuff, and yeah, we started working on it almost instantaneously after releasing the prior record. Obviously, like really rough demos that have changed and aren't the same songs now, but yeah, we started working on it. I would say probably 3 months after, and those days also after dropped.
Oh, wow.
We were working on it in those days and also after.
Whoa.
I got to see you guys in 22, the fall of 2022, and I remember you guys were talking about it with me after, and you didn't tell me anything about what it was about, but it sounded like you were already pretty far along on the process. You were like trying so hard not to let anything out. So I was
It's funny
surprised
how, like,
when it all got
Yeah.
launched and you guys announced it, like what it was, and I was super stoked.
Once we had a grasp on like the vision for the record, the execution of it was a little bit of a different story. So it's like, I don't know, we kind of write in this very almost cinematic kind of process of like storyboarding the whole thing and like what are we trying to tell thematically, and like where is this going, does this fit chronologically, and like stuff that you really wouldn't relate to like writing a record or like a song
like a
here
movie.
and there kind of thing. Yeah, and so that's sort of the approach, at least when I get like the spark of like a good concept that like I want to execute on and like challenge myself on and challenge the guys on to like really join in on like, you know, how is the music telling the story apart from the lyrics? Like if the lyrics weren't on it, could you get a feel for, you know, the themes just from the music? So really pushing those kinds of boundaries is, you know, where we got really excited back in 2022, and we're like fleshing all of it out because we know where we're going. We're just trying to figure out how to get there.
Yeah, gotcha. And I guess when it comes to like the theme of it, let's get into that because I have a few different ideas. I'll throw a couple of them out there, and then you guys can talk about that. So like the album cover, first off, I love the album cover. Got the crown of thorns on it. The album released on Good Friday. And there are quite a few songs that feel like it's from Jesus's perspective, especially 39 Times. We know that 100% is. So like, I'm definitely thinking this has like some sort of like almost like a Palm Sunday to Good Friday to Resurrection sort of like Easter theme. Am I correct in that? But then also with maybe some Peter throughout, and then you also have Barabbas. Christian's nodding his head.
So I guess to kick it off on the album artwork, thanks so much. I did the cover for it and all the packaging and design and the merch spread for this release along with all of our other stuff. So it like talking about since we had the initial idea for the theme, ever since we started that, my brain started going visually, what is this going to look like? And having countless conversations with the guys on like, as we were writing the songs, like what does this visually feel like? And I went through so many different iterations of styles and just like graphic design takes, and ended up just drawing something, and it felt really right to like capture the messiness of and the weight of what it felt like. And something so important to me when it came to the cover was like a color palette and the colors that played a role in like capturing the feeling and emotions of the song.
Totally.
And then like going into the theme of it, I mean, you were spot on. It's Christian and I had so many conversations on like how close are we going to kind of keep this thematically to ourselves. But what was it? It almost kind of like ended up just getting thrown out there, and we're like, this is exactly what it is. So it's really the Palm Sunday to Good Friday story, chronologically following that week through each song, progressing to the flogging of Christ, and then the ending with a resurrection and worshipful type song.
Yeah, and you know, you kind of touched on, all right, well, what are we looking at perspective wise? You know, obviously in 39 Times, it, you know, like literally says Jesus remembers, and then goes on to, give some explanation on what he's remembering in that, you know, like later verse. But a lot of it, I think when I'm writing is how we're, you know, how are we viewing ourselves? Like, how is this relatable to today in a lot of ways? And like, where are we in this story? How is this a relatable message that is, approachable? And is it something where, you know, like how it says in Isaiah, you know, that Jesus was familiar with pain, a man of sorrows and suffering, and, like our great high priest that, you know, understands us. And so I just kind of, I love that thought of, you know, even looking at 39 Times, like the first verse, the first and second verse, those are very personal verses that are prospectively, like for me and for Stone and like for whoever is the listener in that moment, and like the pain that we're remembering is the pain that we're in, and just kind of relaying in different ways, and you know, getting some of Peter and Judas and kudzu guilt, and how there's like a back and forth. There's a lot of different representation that, you know, we would have, you know, like Bible studies on the weekends kind of deal, and really tried to make the story come alive in some aspect, and pull as much like straight from scripture, but then also apply it on like how can we still bridge a gap, and tell a story that's kind of challenging on a writing front too. So
Yeah. When was it that you guys decided to go with this theme and this direction? Because like being so far out, was it an initial thought like, hey, we should write something for a Good Friday release, or as you guys were coming up with a theme and writing the music and it just kind of worked out that way that it timing wise would have made sense?
I think so. We really enjoyed the last concept record, and we as a band had talked pretty regularly about how we went about that, and then we were at the lake, as Armando was talking about earlier, just writing new music, and we were like, hey, how can we go that same path but also be more bold in our faith and what we believe and what we're writing about. And so we decided to kind of challenge ourselves and, write about, familiar with pain and what this is about. But we started it by watching the Passion of the Christ together and just kind of mentally trying to put ourselves, in that story. And as Christian said, we try to cinematically also look at our music. And so, we try to pack in this emotion in each scene and each song. And so that's kind of, where that came from.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I think you guys nailed it. The emotion across it is definitely felt on every song. Christian, you have this way that you don't hear a ton in like hardcore music. You hear it a little bit more in like the metal side, but definitely not in the hardcore side where like you've got all this emotion. Usually hardcore is just like a lot of yelling or a lot of like anger, but you've got just like this emotion where it almost sounds like you're like crying or like desperately yelling for help, that I think really adds to the, I guess, like you said, cinematic piece of it where you feel like you're like following a story of a man who's broken.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I've said really from the beginning, and it's funny that you were like, well, yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of yelling. Cause like, that's what my mom tells me,
All our moms
that's
say
how
that about our music, right?
It's just a bunch of yelling. No, but I mean, cause like I've been, leading worship for, 13, 14 years. And like, I do love to sing. I was in chamber choir. Like, it's not that I don't sing, and like I sing on the record in capacities and in some spots, but I always say like my first objective vocally and like my first responsibility in some aspects, in my opinion, is to pack as much passion into the song as possible, and how that comes out is how it will come out. If it is a singing part, then that's a singing part. If it is a, yell, like if this is like a more elated kind of song and like it's, like what does the music call for? And that's usually what I'm kind of searching for. Not just trying to like shoehorn myself into one spot, but yeah, or even like I remember it's like the whole second half of Heavy Eyes, like the whole Adonai part, kind of when Jesus is in the garden praying and like his disciples just keep falling asleep, and he's like, can you guys just like stay awake with me, please? And so, really just kind of getting that emotion out, like as tough as it was, like the decision was made, hey, this whole piece needs to be one take. Like we're not going to piece it together because like it needs this like exhausted feel. So even just like the approach of like, this, 2-minute segment has to be one take. And, hopefully it is an easier take, but just trying to get a lot of that, passion, emotion across as much as we can.
Like when you're saying you were doing that 2-minute segment, was that you just vocally, or do you guys record as like almost like a live band in parts of it, or do you just track everything separately?
Go ahead, Evan. Get in there, Evan. Come on.
Let's hear from
Track
Evan.
everything separate. We usually track everything separate. We'll come together and we'll play a song all together and like record it on our iPhones, and then come back to it and think, okay, we can change this up here, and then we actually for this record ended up doing. We always start with drums, and we started out with MIDI drums, and then came back with our buddy Josh and thought, he was like, this would sound way better if you just did real drums. I was like, well, then let's do it. So there's a process.
It always does.
We record drums and then brings in the guitars, and then
Always does.
Christian comes in later. This record was a little bit different, but biggest thing is I love the fact that we're able to record something, go back and listen to it, and decide let's swap it up here. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah,
Since you guys all
good demos helped.
since you guys all live like really close together, do you guys record together almost as if you were in a studio?
Yeah, we pretty much recorded everything together. It was piecemealed because we went to a few different locations, and like something that Evan did not mention is when we made the decision to go to the real drums, Evan recorded the entire album on drums in one day.
Oh wow,
Yeah, so him and Josh got together, and
The
they're like,
machine.
yeah,
that's a
I was like, hey, we're
long
gonna
day.
knock this out.
You got to save the money right now.
it was a full work day. It was 8 to 5.
Yeah.
There were a lot of coffee breaks then.
Wow. And then there was no change in drums up from there, right?
Minor, if anything, very little tweaks, but
That's cool. I want to touch on how you guys really, I don't want to say changed your sound. You guys really matured your sound and grew and stretched yourselves as a band. I feel like you guys really took a lot of creative risks, I would say, and they all paid off in my opinion. But you guys did so many different styles of hardcore. You've got like the beat down, like live, like hardcore sound with like Barabbas, and then you've got other songs that are sort of like the melodic rock post-hardcore that we see on a lot of your other stuff, and then you just have almost like some metalcore stuff throughout. Talk to us about how you guys pushed yourselves and grew past those.
So this goes back to that like emotion thing. Christian, I will say, really challenged us all in that area. So there's been several like renditions of every song. So for instance, when we got to Barabbas, we're writing these riffs, and I can't tell you how frustrated I was. We would come to practice and I would be like, Christian, I have this hard riff, dude. Like, it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
And like, I would connect with Evan before, and I'd be like, this is, how it goes. So like, we can try to play it for Christian. We'd play through it, and I'd be like, dude, tell me what you think. And he's like, dude, that's just not it, bro. And I'm like so let down. And he would just like bring us together and be like, dude, just picture this. You've got like an angry mob. Like, these people are angry, and just, chanting for them to let the other guy go, like the bad guy. And so he would like really put us in, those scenes and those situations to help us, kind of craft the best sound for that moment. And so we've tried to take all that into perspective for every song and every emotion. And so, obviously, if you follow the story, everything's going to sound a little bit different because, every scripture is a little bit different. So
Totally.
It's almost like we were trying to like perceive it visually, like if we were watching the movie and they're like, okay, we're going into the next scene, we're in a different location that looks completely different. So like musically it would sound completely different as well, but making it a cohesive piece. And it kind of goes back to like what Evan was saying. We would track all these songs like on our phone at a practice if it got to that point. And then some of them we even fully demoed out with isolated tracks and got to a completely finished product with a song. And we started writing the other songs and figuring out the order of it. And then we'd be like, this one is not working. And we had a few that we completely redid from scratch to make it fit together.
Which and I'll say this for KingdomCore only, Old Friend New Leaf, the first version had a trumpet in it.
Yeah,
we had a ska song.
Yeah,
and you guys cut that?
Do you guys still have the audio? Because I need to hear that.
We still have the B-side. Yeah,
it's still on the back burner, so could come back at some point.
Yeah, it's a completely different song. So,
but it's fully recorded, so who knows? That might.
Wow.
And I will say the song 39 times was literally rewritten 39 times.
Yeah.
That is hardly an exaggeration. Like at minimum 30.
Wow. That's so cool.
Like stuff that we've scratched will be on the back burner for stuff going forward. So like yeah, we have stuff in the arsenal for whatever is to come next. Not gonna give anything away, but yeah, plenty of ammo.
You guys ever gonna do like an acoustic stripped down cover EP kind of like your songs?
Good question.
That's Armando's dream.
You don't gotta ask me twice.
Cool. I was when I was first listening to the song or to the album, I texted Christian when it got to My God Is Strong, and I'm like, bro, is this you singing? Like, why have you been keeping this from us? And I told him that you guys really need to do like a worship album or like an acoustic album, because I think that would be really, really cool.
Well, and that's one thing that I was going to say when you were talking about leading worship, Christian. Like, I really appreciate that you guys did that with this record. Is like it starts and it ends in worship. Like I can't really think of any non-worship albums that have like ever done that in my memory. Like to begin and end it in worship is just, I don't know, it's a really cool way to tie it all together.
Totally. Yeah, let's hear about that final song. Whose idea was it to like end on like a really good modern worship song?
So it wasn't my idea, but to end on it. So in 2020, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer and stage 4. So it rocked my family. And so during that time, you know, it was a super unknown outcome. And my wife and I had written that song for my mom and dad, just to kind of like encourage them through that time and that season. And I had just written it on acoustic. And so, you know, I sang it to my parents and I recorded like a little demo of it. And then, you know, both of my parents are believers and, you know, we prayed and, you know, my dad did all the treatments and everything. And so 2022, he's cancer free, and today he's cancer free.
Amen.
And we had this.
God.
Yeah, thank you. And so in 2022, when we found out he was cancer free, we did like a celebration service, and my wife and I sang that song, and all the guys were there, and so we sang that song. And I walk up to Christian and Armando afterwards, and they're like, "Hey, we have to put that on the record." And so I was like, cool, we got to figure out how to play it full band, because like I had written it acoustic and I wrote it in like a tuning that's not standard. So we had to like figure out how to play it together, which was a fun process. And I want to shout out real quick Josh Ford, who was our engineer and producer. He's an awesome dude.
Made everything come together.
Yeah, he really brought everything together, and especially that song, which, you know, he's not really in the worship space, but like he really helped us kind of pull that all together and pull it off as a band and as a group. So got to give him the shout out.
Yeah.
Chris, what's your favorite song? Let's talk about our favorite songs on the album.
That's hard. It's kind of a tie, I feel like, between 39 Times and actually Barabbas. Like there's something that goes so hard about Barabbas. Like it was it felt different from anything you guys had released before.
Totally.
Kind of with that more like beat down hardcore kind of vibe to it, and it kind of caught me off guard. Like I wasn't expecting it. And then 39 times, obviously, just because of the theme and the context of that song, it just provided such a unique way to tell that concept, especially releasing for Good Friday. Like it was just, I don't know, there was something special about that. So I don't know, I can't really pick a favorite, but those two stand out to me. But obviously the whole record is amazing. So, but again, and the worship songs, like those are just really cool ways to tie it all together. Yeah. What about you, Sean?
Love it. Sean.
I mean, 39 times is definitely up there. Honestly, for me, I gotta go, and I still can't pronounce. It's a Kudzu Guilt. Third time's the charm. Yeah, that song, man. That song is a knife to the chest, man. The ending of that when it's Peter and he's yelling, "I denied you, I denied you." Let me pull it up. I denied you, God, I denied you, and still you came through, you know that I love you. That whole ending section is just, I was listening to this in the gym on Good Friday morning thinking I was going to get like a super heavy hardcore record to lift to, and instead I'm trying not to just like cry like a baby in the middle of the gym. And I'm like, there's no way I can work out to this album.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
Christian, what's your favorite?
My favorite. Oh, we're gonna do ours.
Let's
It's
do
so
it.
funny.
I love hearing the band's favorite songs.
Well, it's funny because like I think some of us here, not naming names, Kudzu Guilt is their least favorite.
Wait, who? Evan?
Okay,
Someone give the mic
may
to
not
Evan.
rhyme with Evan Wyden.
I really love 39 times just because it was blossomed in a very vulnerable kind of moment, and like it was one of those gotcha, like eureka, like throw the papers over the railing, like feels great, like this is what I envisioned and then it happened kind of moments. But I'm going to say What is Truth.
Love that track.
That one I feel like was like another one of those where I was like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I want to do. It happened. And then it's fun to play. I'll say that too. All right.
I've got two. I've got one to play and just one to listen to. My favorite one to play is Life and Death by the Sword. And my second one, which is to listen to, vibe to, Old Friend New Leaf.
Love
Okay.
Old Friend New Leaf.
You love every song, Sean.
I do love every song.
I did not expect Stone to see the exact same thing I would have, but that's, well, actually I should have, yeah. But yeah, everything Stone said, my favorite. Favorite to play, favorite to listen to. But simultaneously, like Heavy Eyes might be my favorite to listen to, just depending on mood and everything. Because like, again, like Christian's vocals at the end, like you were talking about, that just like, depending on mood and everything, that just like, I can't tell you how many times I've just cried listening to that song before. Shouts out to Chris.
For me, my favorite one to play is definitely Heavy Eyes. It's just like a guitar ripper. So it's just fun on my end. But my favorite one to listen to is probably Fury. Just because it's just like vibing the whole time. And got to do a lot of fun production stuff on that one that kind of like had been dreaming of for a while. So it was a lot of fun.
Okay, listen, for the record, Kudzu is not, I don't hate Kudzu. I love all of our songs. If I had to rank them in order, that would probably be on the lower.
But
and
you
it's
still
nothing,
like it.
nothing against,
Yeah.
right. No, I love them all.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I love Barabbas because my daughter headbangs to it, okay? I love And I love playing What Is Truth because that's just a fun song to play. I love all the songs. Okay.
How many of the songs have you guys played live?
Almost all of them.
Heavy Eyes, Old Friend New Leaf, Life and Death by the Sword, Barabbas, What is Truth, 39 Times, Fury.
Yeah.
All of them except for
Everything but Innocence and
Kudzu.
Yeah, so we haven't played Kudzu and the 2 worship tracks.
Yeah. We'll get there soon.
That's Evan's fault that you haven't played Kudzu yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, you can almost
no,
also
we aren't
almost
playing
blame
this one.
Evan on not playing Heavy Eyes.
Oh man. Yeah, what has it been like playing these new songs live? Because you guys have obviously been playing like probably a similar set list for the last 2.5 or 3 years with in those days and also after, and you guys just got done with your run, which I was lucky enough to see you guys in Indy during. So what has it been like playing those songs? What's the live reception been like? Because you guys played them, which I thought was interesting, played them before the album came out. So any fans who came and saw you had never heard those before.
Yeah, that was one where we we just really jumped the gun. We were like sitting on it for so long, and we finally had something that we were like really amped on, and we were like, let's just do it, And it's funny because like the end of that same tour, like some of the tracks had come out while we were on the road, and that was like our first like really, I guess, hometown shows since any of it had been released. And so like we had all wondered like, what's the response going to be? Has anyone picked up on it? This and that. And then like we started playing Barabbas, and literally like the pile happened, and like someone got wrapped around the cord, and the mic got ripped out of my hand into the crowd. And I'm like, just
This is awesome.
standing there without a mic for a minute. And I was like, this is what it's about, dude. So I
So cool.
I just want everyone to pile up and sing every word with me anywhere. Like that's always like the most like it fills me up, Like if I just can't hold the weight of all the people trying to like climb on top of me, like I'm glad to be sore the next day for that reason. And we'll see. That would be a good way to go out.
I want to hear from the rest of you guys what it was like finally playing these new songs that you guys have been sitting on for so long.
It was like it's so cool because I've seen several bands that have, when I've gone to see them live, they've played songs that have not been out yet, and then the song will come out, and like my first connection with it is automatically back to when I saw them play it,
Right.
and I'm like, I have this reminiscence of a song that I'm actually hearing for the first time. I always thought that was like a really cool way to connect with a song. Seeing a band that you enjoy live, and that's like the first interaction that you have with a new song. But just getting to play them like some of them prior to them being released is a really cool like testing ground a little bit too, to see any like tweaks that we want to do live, and just kind of getting a feel for them and seeing the reaction when someone can't possibly know what it is. So if they're like interacting with it, it's because they're being drawn to it like musically as well, which is really cool.
And it's always interesting when the song isn't out, so people like, it seems like people are more engaged in a sense of like they're just vibing and like, so it's kind of cool to like play a song and look out at the crowd, and like they're trying to like listen and get into it, but they're also like really observant and engaged mentally, and so it's cool.
Those are the people standing in the back like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would
Sorry,
say for me, it's been really refreshing just to play an all new set list. Like we were talking about prior, we played in those days and also after thousands of times before. That's not an exaggeration, at shows, at practice, everything. So yeah, just super refreshing. And then We recently played our first show after the album dropped in Starkville. And a lot of people there knew the words and everything. Were getting into it. So that was awesome. But yeah, filming sets and stuff like that. Like we filmed sets while we were on tour. Again, just to kind of like tweak set lists, see what people were vibing with before they had heard it initially. So yeah, it's just all of it's been really. It's just a breath of fresh air, a weight off our shoulders. It's just like, I don't know, just everything about it makes me more excited for what's to come as we continue playing more shows, doing more with it.
That's awesome. I love that.
Like when I got to see you guys a couple years ago, you guys invited me into the back room to like do your pre-show prayer. And I thought that was a really cool moment because you guys take kind of that ministry aspect into your band. I think more than a lot of quote unquote Christian bands do these days. So like hearing how bold you guys went lyrically on this record, like the whole concept of it, it's like the most Christian thing that you could almost write. But like when you guys are playing live and you guys are very conscious of that, like the message that the band is bringing, and you like just I don't know where I was going with this question, but like is there any kind of like standout moments where you've been interacting with people at shows that they come up to you after and ask questions, and you guys can actually really get into the conversation of the gospel and what Jesus has done for us?
Yeah, man, I think it's and I appreciate you like kind of first of all praying with us in that, but we've always took a stance of like we want to remain approachable and to have like an attractive and authentic faith. Like it's not our job to like force anyone to believe a certain way, but like, and also to like meet people where they're at, especially in like hardcore. And like, I had a moment when we had played a show at this festival years and years ago where, it was just like a realization like, hey man, like, thank you guys for taking time to like stick around, pay attention, be engaged with us. And like, I just like kind of had this correlation of like, hey, if I invite you to church, like I'm going to save you a seat because like you're with me. And like, it almost felt like they were saving us a seat at church, so to speak, to like be engaging and like listen and, not just shut us off and tune us out because like of our beliefs, because like that's the last thing we want to do is shut anyone off and tune them out because of their beliefs. And so we just keep a very like open door policy with all of that. And want to remain like I said, as approachable as possible. We pray very attentively on like, Lord, what are you trying to say tonight? Is it something a bit more bold, long-winded? Is it very short and like just a phrase? Like, are you letting the music and the lyrics speak for itself and like the way that we carry off the stage, like for those conversations? Cause I'm definitely a big believer in, relational deposits to make relational withdrawals. And like, if I'm going to try and carry 10 tons of truth to you, like, do you trust where I'm coming from when I say what I'm about to say, as opposed to like, do you think I have some agenda and like, you're just a checklist to me? So even like, like shout out our buddy, Eric Hurst, like the dude's life is completely different from when like we met him, and like the Lord just completely like got a hold of him. And it's just been insane, like watching his journey, and like he'll tag us and stuff. Like got my Bible, dude. I got baptized, and like, and it was from a show that we had played at in Gadsden here in Alabama, and like, I remember it not being too much that I had said, but like, again, it's kind of like, what do I feel led to say? And just trusting that like the Lord's going to do the rest, because like he's going to do a lot more with it than I ever will. So that's kind of where we take our stance on it and our approach. And then ultimately, like with the lyrics and the songs too, Stone had made a good point like a long time ago about like, man, these people like coming up and like shouting these words, like they're speaking things over themselves, like that they just don't even realize, man, like there's so much life in it. And, we just want to see the world changed. So.
And I just think like we love and appreciate every single conversation we've gotten to have with anyone at every show we've ever been to. And there's been so many amazing people we've gotten to meet because of this that have really opened up to us about their personal journeys, their struggles, and their pain. And thinking about this record is really following Jesus and the pain and difficulty that he went through, but ultimately, really trying to showcase that he was familiar with pain to be relatable to us, because we've seen so many people hurting and broken in pain, and just that anyone listening would know that he's someone that can relate to our pain.
That's awesome. I love that. Definitely why I love you guys for sure. One thing that just came to mind that has nothing to do with what we just talked about. At the end of 39 times, I completely forgot to ask this. You guys have like a preacher preaching. Who is that, and where was that from?
So I'll tackle that. That is a close friend of mine and my wife's family. His name's Brother David. He's an old pastor that lives not too far away from us, and he actually spoke at mine and my wife's wedding when we got married back in the day. My wife grew up with him as her pastor, and he's just one of the most genuine people that you'll ever meet. And we were in the writing process for 39 times, and I remember listening to some of the demos that we had, like driving back and forth to work and everything. And I remember the song ending, and I just sat there for a moment, and I was like looking at the scripture that we were kind of like basing it off of, and I called Christian immediately. I was like, "Hey, listen to this." And I was like, "We got to have someone read this, and it has to be this guy. His voice is just." Like, it has to be this. Mm-hmm. And we ended up tracking the demo, and Christian ended up doing it originally just for the sake of like, feeling like how it would transition and what it would feel like. Mm-hmm. And we were on our super tight deadline, and we didn't know if we were going to get Brother David's audio recording back in time. And it almost ended up being Christian, but it worked
which is
out.
Another B-side.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think he nailed it. Like, he has the perfect voice for like what you have in the background. His voice sounds like perfect for that. It's just the most gentle delivery of like one of the most intense verses in the entire Bible. I love that.
I love that.
Sorry, Christian, what was that?
Nothing.
He's making fun of me.
I'm sorry. We're just having a good time, man.
I can't remember if it was Innocence of Silence or if it was My God is Strong. I see My God is Strong has Hayden Creel on it, but is Innocence of Silence, is there a female vocalist in there? Or one of the songs that...
No,
that's me and Chris.
It's just Armando and I. Yeah,
good job,
like 16. It's like 16 layers of us, dude.
I'll be honest. I'm hitting.
We're up there.
That's definitely up there. Had to squeeze.
I apologize. I thought it was
Just a bit.
Maybe it's
we have to end this interview now.
I'm done.
The super high. The super high note Armando couldn't hit it, and so Evan went up and gave him a wedgie so that he could hit that super high one.
That's good.
I actually believe that, though. That sounds like something you guys would do.
What's funny is I actually can't remember if that's true or not, because it does sound like something that we would do.
So the stupid thing that actually happened when we were tracking all
Dude.
Every singing part on the record, we had both of our hands lifted up. And I don't know why, it was just a mental thing. It was just like got us out of our head for some reason. Not even like a worship thing, or just like a field goal type, like all right, we're ready to track now.
That's so funny.
Dude, I
It
forgot
opens
about
up
that.
it opens up the lungs, you know.
Yeah. It really did something.
The wedgie happened during your dream when you guys were in the van by the river and the train, or
Yeah. Oh, when we had a fever from thousands of mosquitoes.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, that one.
For those
didn't have
who have
dreams
heard
that
our
night.
first
We
interview
had
with you guys.
nightmares that night. We had fever dreams that night.
Oh man, that was awful. Do you guys have any funny stories from like the recording of this album that you guys want to share? Any standout moments?
Hey, so I don't know. I don't have any funny stories, but I do have a crazy story.
Let's hear it.
The tour that we went on last October with God's Eyes, the night before we were leaving. So our first show is in Long Island. The night before we were leaving, Christian calls me at midnight and he says, "Hey man, I can't go on the road. I have like a family emergency." And so I call Evan immediately and I'm like, "Dude, Christian just said he can't go. Like, we cannot bail on this tour. This is God's Eyes, like, record release tour." And he was like, "We're going to have to find a fill-in in like 6 hours that can leave in 6 hours." And so I'm like racking my brain. And I remembered this dude that filled in for us for a show in Florida like a month prior. And so I texted him at midnight and I was like, "Hey dude, can I call you?" And he was like, "Sure." And so I'm like, "Hey man, this is what's going on. Is there any chance that you could go on tour with us?" He's like, "Dude, I'd love to. When are y'all leaving?" And I was like, "In 6 hours." And he was like, "Whoa." And he's like, let me check with my wife." And so anyways, he checks, he finds out he can go. I tell him what time to be at my house. We leave. We're on the
He's
way.
just like, "Please, honey, let me go. I want to go through it."
Armando finds out when he
That morning.
gets to my house that morning. I texted Brandon, so he knew. And we get in the van and we get like 6 hours in, and this is like a 13-hour drive. And our fill-in, his name's Raleigh Anderson. Great dude. Shout out Raleigh. He's filled in for us several times since then. But we get like 6 hours in, and he looks at me and he's like, "Hey, dude, so what are we about to do?" And I'm like, "Well," and so we like turn the radio down, and I'm like, "I think that you're going to play guitar and Armando is going to do vocals." And Armando's like, "I got to start learning the lyrics." So, dude, we made it work. And I mean, it was great, but it was the most stressful 48 hours of my life. But
Oh my
we got it.
gosh. How long
I was
of a tour
sound
was that?
asleep. It was a week. Like
Yeah, it was like a week.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
just
So it's
under
not
10
too
days.
long to do that.
Yeah. But I was sound asleep the whole time. I woke up with like 20 texts and calls and everything. And as soon as I woke up, I was like, something's definitely wrong.
So Stone called me after he called Evan, and I was in the shower and just praying about tour and everything. And I just had this weird feeling like I'm gonna get out of the shower and something weird's gonna happen. Just literally in the midst of praying about all of it, and then got out of the shower and then saw a missed call from Stone and a text saying, "Hey, call me ASAP." So yeah, he called me and I was just like, "Dude, I don't know what we could do, but we're going to make it work." And then yeah, Stone obviously worked his magic, and God did his thing, worked his magic, and yeah, it worked out. But yeah, it was just all that was really ironic and goofy.
Not that the Lord does magic, but Stone definitely does.
Sorry, Stone does magic. Jesus does miracles. My bad.
Amen, bro.
Hey, make that a shirt. Make that a shirt.
I'm pretty sure the
How much of this can we edit
unforgivable
out?
sin is saying Jesus does magic.
Stone does magic. Jesus does miracles.
I want a shirt like that. Oh, that's so good.
I don't even know.
I love tour stories. That's my
I know. I'm
favorite
trying to
thing.
think of one.
I also love tour stories, but I'm blanking, bro. I'm gonna have a kid in like less than a month, so my brain is just like
We both are, man.
Hey,
gone,
Sean's there
dude.
too.
Yeah, we have the
Our
same
wives have
birthday.
the same due date.
Wait, actually?
Go.
No, literally,
Dead
Like-
serious.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a race. I bet we'll win.
it is. That'd be
May
so
the
cool
best
if they both
baby
gave birth
win.
on the same day. How do we determine which baby wins?
the
baby
first
Mike
one out
won.
of the womb.
First one out of the womb? Isn't that just a quitter?
Okay, yeah. Which one comes out and it, like weighs more? Is that?
Yeah, that's the winner.
Is that how you judge it?
We'll keep mine in for 43 weeks, man.
I have a pep talk with my wife. We have to win. Anyways,
I love that.
Weird flags.
weird flex, but okay.
This interview's
wait,
gotten away
what you
from us,
got?
Chris.
I know you got
Yeah.
one. He's got one.
You
got
got a
one more.
story?
One more.
All right.
One more
let's hear
tour
it.
story. So this was one more tour story. We took a videographer, JP, Jean Pierre. If you're listening, dude, we love you,
Oh, I
man.
love JP.
Great dude, but we call him 92. It's the first two of the last four digits of his social security number.
Let's put that out there.
So 92, he's the man. So we stay in this hotel one night, and we're stoked. We got in early. We get some Chipotle, I believe.
Yeah.
We get in the bed early, and JP was kind enough to sleep on a sleeping blow-up mattress, air mattress on the floor. So everybody else is in a bed. JP is on an air mattress. And in the middle of the night, we hear JP get up to go to the restroom. The bathroom door was closed. And JP cannot get over this air mattress. And straight up, I mean, JP, he's a pretty stout fella, broad-shouldered fella. He falls with all of his might straight into the bathroom door. I mean, like, he's laying with his face like on the door, and the bottom of the door is like bent in. And I was like, JP, are you running Oklahoma drills on the bathroom door, man? And he's just laying on the floor dying laughing. But that's just a good story. I mean, maybe it's an insight, but it was hilarious.
That's funny.
That's so good. Well, I think we're coming up on about an hour, so we're kind of running low on time. I don't know. Is there anything specific about what you would want people to pay attention to or think about and consider while they're listening to this record for their first time, or I don't know, again? Because obviously it's a multiple spinner. You gotta play it a lot.
Be sure to stage dive on Old Friend New Leaf. We're highly encouraging that.
I just
Speaking
say
of
keep,
which, we gotta
keep
get the B
spinning
side
it. Oh yeah,
Ooh,
with the
yeah.
trumpets.
we'll give it to
The
y'all.
trumpet, the ska version.
If you're nice. Yeah.
And I know you guys are familiar, but Christian
Pain.
loves putting Easter eggs and everything. So yeah, listen, find new stuff, Easter eggs, listen again.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd say listen.
my brain literally went to. I thought you were saying Christian loves putting Easter eggs in anything, and he like brings Easter eggs on tour because this released at Easter. Like that's where my brain was at. Now I understand what you mean.
What I meant to.
Now I feel like I'm
Coloring eggs in the van.
I wasn't trying to out him like that, but I mean, you said it, not me. And
He does bring an officer badge.
Okay.
I've got a sheriff badge that they gave me because I love to actually have fun while we're on the road. Sorry, like, but
Are you the fun police?
yeah,
Yeah.
Or I guess
no,
no
I'm
fun
the
police.
sheriff of Funtown, dude. I
Christian gets one free request a day with his sheriff badge.
get to make the
What do
call.
you use that for?
his idea of fun is going to eat after we're already out at 2:00 in the morning. Oh yeah, let's go to Waffle House with the other band and stay up until 5:00 in the morning. We don't have a 7-hour drive tomorrow.
Whatever equates to memories, that's what I'm trying to make happen, dude. Core
There you
memories.
go. I like that.
What was that place in Seattle
I
that we
think-
went to after I met you guys? It was the burger place that you stand in, like there's no seats.
Dick's?
Dick's, yeah.
Dick's?
Yeah.
Did they always have no seats? It felt like a
Well, there wasn't any when we went there. It was
location.
literally just walk in and you stand around.
Yeah.
it's kind of sick
But
though.
That was a different
Yeah, I mean, as far as the record goes,
experience.
I honestly, listen, and it would do my heart some good if you would read as well. The way that things are worded, the way that things are phrased. Just know that it's all very intentional.
Every song is definitely jam-packed lyrically with intention and musically. So I think there's, a little something new to hear every time around. And that's even, for myself listening through it. I mean, I enjoy it a little more every time. So
Awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. We love
Dude,
chatting
thank
with
you
you
guys for
guys. We
having
love
us.
you guys' music. Is there anything you guys want to plug? What's next for Meadows in 2024? Tell us that.
When is this coming out?
I don't know. Probably next week, right, Chris?
Yeah, probably in about a week from now.
Okay, yeah. This one's in the clear.
Thought we were getting
Audio
an
feed.
exclusive.
Come hang at Audio Feed. We're going to be there. It's going to be great.
When is
That's
that?
where you can stage dive to Old Friend.
yes.
It's the 4th of July weekend out in Urbana,
Awesome.
Illinois. So I think we'll be there Saturday playing,
Yeah.
and it's going to be awesome.
Can we plug the other one? And
We have other
in
cool
Florida. In Florida?
No.
Okay.
We have a lot of other cool shows coming up that will be announced hopefully sooner than later, but we have a stacked summer, so definitely excited about it.
Sweet.
Yeah, one really cool show. No, I can't give anything away about it. But yeah, gonna announce something on the 20th that I'm so stoked. All of us are, but extremely stoked for. Don't know when we'll be announcing this, but also playing a really cool show on the West Coast. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So anybody listening, watching, yeah, eyes open, ears out.
You're never out of the question. Just know it.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys again for coming on and sharing your story with us. We appreciate it.
Dude, thank you
Yes,
guys.
thank you guys.
Chris, Sean, y'all are the bomb.
Yeah.
Yo, okay.
Perfect. We can
Oh,
jump
Kingdom
in there.
Core
Podcast.
Intro.
Why is there balloons? What's going on?
Look at it.
That was the best ending ever.
How did you do that?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Do you need a thumbnail?
Oh my goodness. Okay, wait.
That was
The
awesome.
thumbnail, yes.
It's the peace. It's the peace sign, dude.
Dude, confetti!
How are you doing that? Do you just
Is this-
do hold?
Oh, is it because they're doing the signs?
amazing.
Is that from their phone? Is that
Yeah, that's the
dude.
phone one. That's the
Come
phone
on,
for
bro.
some-
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm so glad I didn't
hilarious.
stop recording.